With yet another fantastic World Cup tournament coming to its close, join us as we take a look at the 5 most iconic World Cup moments in the 21st century. Number 5. Lampards Goal. On the 27th of June 2010, England were playing arch rivals Germany in the knockout round of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. Germany had gone 2-0 up thanks to goals from Klose and Podolski when centre-back Matthew Upson pulled one back in the 37th minute. Just 53 seconds later, Frank Lampard shot the ball and it hit the underside of the crossbar, resulting in it crossing the line into the goal and then bouncing back into the field of play due to backspin. The referee and the assistant referee both did not see the ball go in, and at the time there was no goal line technology, which meant the goal was not given. Had the goal been awarded, the game would have been 2-2, and who knows, England may have progressed further in the tournament. Instead, Thomas Müller bagged a brace in the second half as Germany won the game 4-1. Not only was this a huge moment in World Cup history, it was a huge moment in football history altogether, as the ghost goal incident in this match was a major factor in FIFA's decision to test and later implement new rules allowing goal line technology to be used in football. Number 4. Ronaldo gets Rooney sent off. Rewind back to 2006 when Portugal took on the golden English generation of Rooney, Beckham, Gerrard and co. It was the quarter-finals of the World Cup being held in Germany, and the English fans had huge expectations from their golden generation. In this game, football fans witnessed one of the most iconic moments in recent history when Rooney became only the 3rd English player to be sent off at a World Cup at the hands of Manchester United teammate Cristiano Ronaldo. During the game, Rooney had grown frustrated and got tangled up with Portugal's Ricardo Carvalho before stamping on the former Chelsea defender in the most sensitive of areas whilst he was on the floor. But what followed overshadowed that moment of madness from Rooney. Ronaldo, who had seen Rooney stamp on his teammate, was leading the protest to the referee to get Rooney sent off. Rooney then shoved his Manchester United teammate in anger and was given his marching orders. But that's not where it ends. When Rooney walked back down the tunnel in humiliation and despair, the television cameras zoomed in on Ronaldo winking towards the Portugal's bench, almost as if to say, "Job well done." He had convinced the referee that Rooney had to go, and whilst they still achieved great success on the pitch, it's clear that Rooney and Ronaldo were never really friends again, and this can be seen 16 years later as they go back and forth in public interviews. Number 3. The Suarez Handball. The 2010 World Cup hosted by South Africa saw Uruguay and African giants Ghana meet in the quarterfinals. Suleiman Tari had put Ghana ahead with a 35-yard drive just before half-time, a controversial moment in itself, as Uruguay keeper Fernando Muslera was beaten more by the unpredictable swerve of the Jublani football than a particularly impressive strike. Diego Forlan, who was the standout player of the tournament, pegged one back for Uruguay with a second-half free kick. The game then went into extra time, with Ghana looking like the stronger side, and as the game entered the 120th minute, Ghana won a free kick. The ball was fired into the box, and it was a free-for-all as several shots and blocks were made, with the final block coming from Luis Suarez with his hand. The ball was seemingly heading into the net before Suarez used his hand to prevent the goal. The referee then showed him the red card and gave Ghana the penalty. Fortunately for Suarez, Ghanaian striker Asamoah Gyan stepped up and struck the crossbar, a penalty miss which would go down in World Cup history, and the whistle blew with the game going into a penalty shootout. And whilst Gyan did convert from the spot this time, 2 of his teammates didn't, which gave Uruguay a 4-2 win in the shootout and thus a place in the semi-finals. 12 years later, it could be argued that Ghana got their revenge as Uruguay went out in the group stages this year following their game early on in the tournament. Number 2. The Zidane Headbot. Zinedine Zidane will forever be remembered as one of the greats of the game, but his last outing in his illustrious career was overshadowed by a reckless red card in the 2006 World Cup final against Italy. Zidane had opened the scoring in the game from the penalty spot with a Panenka effort past Gianluigi Buffon, but Materazzi equalised just 12 minutes later. The game would remain locked at 1-1, forcing the contest into extra time and eventually a penalty shootout. But Zidane was unable to take part as he was given his marching orders in the 110th minute after tangling with Materazzi midway inside the Italian half. An off-the-ball incident was not spotted by the match referee, but consultation with the 4th official resulted in an all-time great heading for the tunnel. Replays showed Zidane in discussion with Materazzi as both made their way up the field, with Zizou lashing out at the Italian as he planted a headbutt into his chest and left. There were suggestions at the time that Materazzi had made a comment about Zidane's mother, but he always refuted those accusations and won a case against the British media in 2009 in a bid to clear his name. But in 2020, he finally revealed what was said that day. After him and Zidane were clashing throughout the game, Zidane told him, "I'll give you my shirt later," with which Materazzi replied, "I'd rather have your sister than your shirt." So this is what led to the iconic Zidane headbutt, which would be the last action of his playing career. Number 1. Brazil vs Germany, 7-1. The final event on this list was more than just an iconic moment, it was an iconic game. Brazil, the host nation of the 2014 World Cup, took on European giants Germany in the semi-finals, with star player Neymar missing out due to injury and captain Thiago Silva missing out due to suspension. There was already a feeling among fans that Brazil were unlikely to progress to the final. But not only did Brazil fail to progress to the final, the game ended in a historic loss for them, in a massive show of dominance by Germany, who led 5-0 within 29 minutes, with 4 goals being scored inside a 6-minute span. Germany grabbed 2 more by the end of the second half, with Mats Hummels even claiming that the German team had made a pledge among themselves at half-time to not humiliate Brazil any further in their own backyard. This historic game broke several records, including the biggest winning margin in a World Cup semi-final or final, and the worst loss by a host country in World Cup history. Miroslav Klose also overtook R9 as the all-time World Cup top scorer with 16 goals. Germany would end up going all the way, beating Argentina in the final and lifting the World Cup in front of the home country, who they had just humiliated a few days prior. And that was it for the 5 most iconic World Cup moments in the 21st century. Let me know any other moments that were not included in this list, and I'll see you next time.